the Dharma in
Dharma in very
profound
profound
and
and
infinitely
infinitely
subtle
subtle is
very
that even a
and
100,000 billion
billion
alphas
alphas
now
now
we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Seems like we're getting better at chanting with Zoom. It's really nice. My name is John Kaian Jennings. I'm a student of Kwang Roshi's. I've been a student since 2002. I received the precepts in Jukai in 2006 and was ordained a monk. I believe it was 2012. I've been absent pretty much from the Zen Center for the last 3 years. A lot of it due to fire. Ever since the fire blew through here, and for the last 3 out of 5 years, we've been under evacuation orders. So it's made leaving home a little more difficult. So I have not really been much of a presence over at the Zen Center for a few years. Last year, Nyozi invited me back for Kashin's ordination. And that was very opportunistic because it basically put me back in contact with the Zen Center. It's been a really good reunion. I had a lot to talk about today, but I'm sort of feeling a little derailed. My wife, Leah, woke up this morning with a fever, and it's been going up all morning. So I'm a little concerned and a little distracted. But it does tie into what I wanted to talk about this morning. And it was around the Dharma of the pandemic. And also, what sort of gifts the pandemic can bring us. I had a whole script written out, and when I was reading it this morning, I'm going, this is just pompous and whatever. It just didn't flow. It didn't seem like it was really coming from the heart. So I basically thrown away my prepared remarks, and I'm just going to, please ask you to indulge me as I shotgun around these topics. As I mentioned before, I don't know if I mentioned before, my wife lives in Lake County. We live in a high mountain valley between Boggs Mountain and Cobb Mountain at about 2,700 feet. We live on a little over 3 acres of property, which has really been a benefit during the shutdown because we've been able to get outside on the property and really not run into anybody. From that standpoint, the shutdown hasn't really affected us a lot around the house here. And myself, I don't really get out that much, so really haven't been exposed too much to the virus. Mostly just going to the grocery store and Santa Rosa maybe once a month. But I've been really grateful for the shutdown, and for a lot of different reasons. think the main that things have really stopped, really have slowed down. As a Dharma practitioner, I really welcome that. The slower things can get for me right now, the better. Because otherwise my mind just fills up with all kinds of dire stuff. Part of the reason why I didn't spend a lot of time at the Zen Center over the past few years was I ran into kind of an existential crisis of faith, a spiritual crisis. After the fire and just the tremendous feelings of loss and grieving that our community was going through, and subsequently every year after that, we've had, resurgence of fire and loss and grieving. It really hit me in a very deep place, and I really just started wondering about us as a species and our chances of survival, and all this really existential stuff. This is stuff that stuff that's core to our being. I read a book which I would hesitate to recommend. It was an excellent book. I really, really got a lot out of it. It was called Sapiens by Yuval Harari, which really sheds a different light on us as a species when we look at the greater picture. And this is where I've been at over the last few years, is looking at things through a wider lens. And maybe not maybe not seeing us as being so irreplaceable or special. How are we in relation to everything else? In the study group, we've been talking about this idea of toji, of seeing everything, especially in Zazen, seeing everything with equal value, nor bad, not special. And so I've been trying to look, have a broader view of our situation, maybe discarding a lot of the old ideas we had about ourselves, as human beings. And I came away with that with not a really very good feeling. I was pretty sure, and I still sort of feel that way, that as a species we've made a lot of bad choices, and are really not heading, up to this point, not really heading down a very good path for us as a species to survive. And maybe that's not really that important. I think that's pretty much what I've come away from is, we do or we don't. We don't really have any special mandate for survival. However, recently, with the arrival of this pandemic, it's slightly changed my view. I see this as a result of our own actions. This is not something that just happened in a vacuum. And it's been a long time coming, because the wiser ones of us have been predicting this kind of thing for a while. It's basically our doing. We've become so successful as a species that we are, extending our influence into everything and everywhere. And there probably is some places where we shouldn't be going. I believe the pandemic probably came out of these areas where we should not be going. And we're forced into this, by our economic engines, because our population's growing and because our economic system requires new bodies to buy new products. This is just a bad cycle. It's unsustainable. So in that respect, the pandemic is not a big surprise. One of the things that's come out of it that I find really interesting and really surprising is right now we're going through this period of I guess it's an experiment in social engineering. We just see how fast we can change, how fast can we adapt to a changing situation. As Dharma practitioners, we are at home with the idea of impermanence, but a lot of times that idea of impermanence is just an idea. It's an abstraction that we really don't run into, at a visceral level, unless we lose somebody through death. Sometimes if we lost a job, that's a pretty big change in life. But basically impermanence, I would say from my own experience that even though I'm aware of impermanence, I still go along assuming that, things aren't going to change or change really fast. And we're seeing that that's not really true. Things are changing really fast. One of the great gifts I see is that in the slowing down, there's a lot more opportunity to really examine things closely, to really look at our situation deeply, with deep eyes. And so what we're seeing is because people are looking at things deeply, is a whole lot of societal failures are coming to light. This crisis in health has shown, how unequal and uneven our healthcare is. The fact that we're even having a dialogue of healthcare versus economic health is just really surprising. I mean, where's our values in that? If we need to have the economic engine running in order to, be a healthy society. Or it would seem to me that, if we were a healthy society, the economy would follow behind that. But health is really primary. Oh, let's see. Another thing that I see coming up is the need for adaptability. We take so much for granted, and so much that what we do is very rigid. We're really, change doesn't come easy. And I know from my own experience, change does not come easy. I would give an example. One of the reasons why I left the Zen Center several years back was there was so much change happening there, and it's not a criticism. This is strictly my own. I'm talking from my own heart, and this is what I was confronted with, and seeing when Naoze came back from Japan and had all this fresh influence on ritual and at the time it just seemed overwhelming to me. It was like really difficult to make these changes. Partially because I wasn't coming over to the Zen Center, every week, but if I come over once a month, there would be, wow, more change. And how I was doing things in the past wasn't how we were doing it now. And so there was this weird pressure on me, and I just it was a difficult time. It's not difficult anymore. And I realized that was just, it was my own inability to change. But now I see this in society. I see this where I live here in this county, the inability to change. And I see this with face masks and social distancing. to my way of thinking, social distancing and wearing a face mask is bodhisattva work. One way of looking at this is, if I put a face mask on and keep my distance, I'm protecting myself and my family from infection. But this is a pretty small way of looking at it. In our study group, we're reading Dogen's fascicle on refraining from evil. And the commentary is written by Uchiyama Roshi. And he has this kind of a sort of mathematical symbol that he's worked out, showing these relationships of, and so, me wearing a face mask to protect myself would be the idea of the individual, me, over all. If I wear a face mask and I'm protecting you from me, in other words, it's more of all over all, that instead of just being concerned with my own health, I'm concerned with the general health, with everybody's health. And this is bodhisattva work. This is all over all. This is how we can put our Dharma practice into action. As I said, this is becoming very close to home now. I'm not sure how my wife's doing. We will see over the days. I know she's got a test scheduled, I think on Wednesday. I know I had a lot more to say about this, but I'm really feeling pretty distracted. And actually, at this point, would invite any questions, and maybe if we could get a dialogue going, it might be a good thing. So, if you have anything you would like to add at this point, please unmute yourself and speak up.
Hi, John. This is Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hi. I've heard a lot about you, but I don't believe we've met before. But thank you for your talk. And I was really struck by resistance to the newness of ritual. It feels like an interesting contradiction. And I think ritual is kind of, besides how I've heard it talked about at the Zen Center, I hear it as like a buzzword from a lot of other places. And I wonder, I guess I was just curious to hear how you came around to ritual as like a new way to practice something you had been practicing a long time.
Thanks for that question. So I've been and used ritual at the Zen Center for many years. And we had basically, we had a liturgy that was pretty well set up. And so, liturgies change. It's just at the time I just wasn't really, I guess I just felt threatened about it. Also, there's this thing about, I have a thing about doing something well. And I was finding myself, I still find myself, I just don't, I have a hard time with a lot of things like that. But I believe in the importance of ritual. It's the thing that holds us together under a common umbrella. And I also see the value in in learning it. I mean, obviously we just want to not distract anybody else by our inability to follow or not able to follow something. I'm really sensitive about that. I just don't want to be a distraction. And it's really not that important, when it gets down to it. I mean, the sitting is important, the primary. For me, sitting is primary. And then the ritual, the chanting and all that is good and supportive of that. And it does hold us together as a group in an activity. So I don't know, does that really answer your question, I hope?
An open-ended question, but thank you for that.
Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, well, this was a little bit shorter than I had wanted it to be, and I know there was probably a lot of stuff if I read my notes that I didn't get to say. But like I said, I'm a little bit distracted right now. My mind is in the other room. So I wish you all a wonderful Saturday. Please stay safe. Keep practicing, keep sitting. Join the study group. Study group has really been beneficial. In fact, actually, the whole online practice, I would really take a little bit of time here just to say how grateful I am for Genjoji, for Naoze and Roshi and Shinko and Kashin setting up this virtual Zendo. I know it's upped my practice quite a bit. It's also made it a lot easier to practice since there's no traveling involved. And the study group has been quite a good thing. We are working our way through a book of 3 fascicles by Dogen, and you can jump in at any time. The conversation's been pretty enlightening, so I would highly recommend that. So I guess if there is no more comment. Oh, one other thing. Also, if you can, please send some support towards the Zen Center, because we're not running retreats. There's really not much income coming in. So anything that you can spare, please send. And if there is no more comment, then let's do
I have
closing.
a comment.
Oh, who's this? Oh, aha, Kashin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't help to say like few things about my experience with rituals, and there's a lot to say about it. And I found over the years the intimacy with ritual is extremely important. And if you want to put your sasen in action, that's a good way to put it. Because ritual, of course, we know is no other than yourself. And if one is distracted or have a lot in mind, that's a good, I think it's been said, good medicine to give yourself. Very compassionate medicine to yourself and to your surroundings. And Roshi is saying that the ritual is everything. The way you eat, you know, the way you worry, the way you walk, and everything, because it's about coming back to here now, which is sasen, you know, in action. So me personally, learning a lot about the form, and I totally understand if one is a little not so used to it. But it's really a wonderful way to forget yourself. And I have been also fortunate to study tea. And tea is nothing but ritual. Make anybody squirm. He finds very restricting. And it's like, gosh, it's not for me. It's not free. But actually, when you throw yourself into just doing the form, then something else happens. We know that. And for the guests that in the tea rooms, when ritual does itself, exactly when yourself is forgotten, then the guest and everything it goes beyond something that we are not too familiar with or don't anyways, like something goes beyond, and there's this really unspeakable beauty, that is more than just beauty. It's that, again, that intimacy that you meet, that background that's always there. So anyways, I just want to say ritual is, we know that, I'm sure, like, it is really important, but it's a really great practice to look into and try to do.
No. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, I would just add, those feelings that I had about ritual, aren't the feelings I have right now. This is, and I totally agree with what you're saying, Kashin. I do remember, just doing orioke and being in a room full of practitioners, all taking a meal together and all doing the same thing. And it was, there's just something really incredibly moving about that. And it does bring us back to our foundation. So yeah, thank you for your comment. That was really valuable. Anyone else?
Yeah, John, if I could, this is Eric Shearer.
Eric,
hi.
Nice to hear you. Good talk last week.
Oh, thank you, John. I just wanted to let you know that I was really happy to see that you were speaking this week, and I always love hearing from you. And I have over the years since I first got to know you at the Zen Center many years back. And one of the things that I've loved when I've been logging online for Zazen is when you're there. And I just want to let you know that your presence here has always meant a lot to me, and that your presence has been a big part of my practice. And so I very, very, very much appreciate you being on here today and speaking with us and speaking from the heart today. I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for your honesty. You're not alone. This is Susie.
Hi, Susie.
You're not alone. It's really, really hard what we're going through. I'm so sorry about your wife, but maybe her tests will be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, what we're going through right now is just incredibly taxing. It's just taxing us in every way. And it's just very, 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 very difficult. It is comparable to losing someone, losing a job. It's a huge loss, perhaps. Maybe we're losing things. We're used to. I was just hopping along happily. I had everything. Everything was working fine, job, home, and then suddenly the rug gets pulled right from under you. Yeah. And even though the practice, you're right, here we are, and you're not alone. And the practice has gotten better in so many ways through Zoom. We still have to go back to life as we know it, or we knew, yeah, no, it's a new way. And I'm finding it right this instant really, 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 really difficult. Yeah, so you're not alone. You're not alone. And thank you for your honesty, because it makes me feel like I'm not making this up.
Right. Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Don? Don, this is Dan. I just wanted to add a comment to do
Hi.
with ritual again. Is we have a group here where I live of 15 to 20 people that practice weekly. And when I bring up the subject of ritual with them, people get edgy, they get nervous, because most people look at ritual as restrictive. They look at it as an enclosure almost. They look at it as pressure, because for most things that we do that has ritual, it's not easy or simple or commonplace in our lives. So we don't quite follow how to do it. We feel insecure. But the way I explain it to them is that ritual is really nothing but simplicity, and therefore nothing but mindfulness. And ritual can be the ritual that we do at the center, or it can be stopping at a red light in traffic. Everything is ritual. And I like it when people stop at red lights. But it's just that simple. It's just simplicity and mindfulness. That's all ritual is. And once I was able a while ago with Roshi to understand that myself, then simplicity was a very, very positive thing in my practice.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for your talk. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, is there anything else? If not, we'll do the closing gatha. And before we do that, I would thank you all for being here and being here every morning and evening. And let's continue to practice together. Thank you so much.
May the merit of this penetrating increasing in all places, so that and we all sentient beings together realize
Thank you, Kaian.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.